Hey there, it's David H. Lawrence the 17th, and I recently became aware of a book that's just fascinating. It's called The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt by Edmund Morris. And there's all kinds of really amazing things in this book. There are a couple of books out now about Teddy Roosevelt, including one where he had to defend himself in a libel suit. That's for another video. But this particular book talks specifically about just how dedicated and focused and disciplined Teddy Roosevelt was. It was stunning. As I'm reading through this, I want to share with you what he said was a sample schedule of Teddy Roosevelt's day. First of all, he'd go to bed every night at midnight. So he'd get up at 7 in the morning, breakfast. 8 o'clock, a speech. Somehow he was speaking at 8 o'clock in the morning. 7:30, sorry, not 8 o'clock, 7:30, a speech. Very tight schedule. 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, he would read, right? 9 o'clock, another speech. 10 o'clock, dictating letters. So he would accumulate all of his work and then dictate the letters. 11 o'clock, meetings. And I want you to pay attention. We're going to come back to the meetings. Then 11:30 in the morning, another speech. 12 o'clock, reading until 12:30, so a half an hour of reading. Then at 12:30, a luncheon speech. Did a lot of speaking. Then at 1 o'clock, he'd have that lunch, right? 1:30, another speech. 2:30, reading, again, reading. He used to read a lot. 3 o'clock, he would answer telegrams, because that was one of the prevalent ways that people communicated back then, is telegrams. 3:45, a speech. 4 o'clock, he would meet the press every day and speak with the press. 4:30, more reading. 5 o'clock, another speech. 6 o'clock, reading. 7 o'clock, supper. And then at night, he usually had, oddly enough, a speech to give. And then more than one in some cases. At 11 o'clock, he made sure he was on his way home. He would read in the car on the way home and then would be asleep by midnight. That was his typical day, and he repeated this on a regular basis. But remember when I said he would take meetings and I wanted to come back to those? He used to hold the kind of meetings that today are being rediscovered as the great way to do meetings, right? We tend to look at meetings as hour-long, half-hour-long, some multiple of half-hour-long elements in our day. And most meetings, oddly enough, don't require that much time. They just don't. There's a lot of, welcome to the meeting. How's everything going? A little small talk, and then wrapping things up. How are things going with the family? But the truth of the matter is that you can get a lot more done if you narrow the window that you have available. I think I said in another video that I had a boss at America Online that asked me one day, how long would it take you to build this area? Because I used to build areas for AOL. And I'm like, maybe a couple of weeks. And he goes, what if you only had 2 hours? What could you get done in 2 hours? And it was mind-blowing to me that, you want to give yourself enough time to do things, but if you just narrow your focus, you become really attuned to what's essential. He used to hold, on average, 7.5-minute meetings. Now, he was the president. And this wasn't unusual and continues not to be unusual for presidents to hold these snap, very short meetings. But think about it. That's a pretty important job. Don't you think you'd want to hold meetings that allow you to dive deep into what's needed? Well, in the case of the president, and maybe even in the case of you and I, going with what's essential as opposed to what's complete, what may not be necessary, can be really valuable in focusing and disciplining your time. So here's the takeaway from this. Yes, he had a very strict schedule. Yes, it was very rigid. Yes, it was very, very methodical. But he did something in his meetings that I think all of us can learn from, and that is to narrow the window for each one of the tasks in those meetings. And we have an example already in our lives that we can learn from, and that's phone calls, right? When we want to call somebody and get some information, those phone calls rarely last a half hour or an hour. They are often like, hey, I was wondering if I could get some information from you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hope all is well with you. Bye-bye. Right? What if we really paid attention to narrowing the focus of those times that we spend each day meeting with other people, talking with other people, and really getting to the heart of things? And even if we have to tell that other person, look, I'm just trying to be efficient because my day is packed. I wish I could spend more time with you, but I just can't. But you get what you need done, you give them what they need. Narrowing the focus is kind of the opposite of the whole the job will expand to fit the time allotted it. Well, if we narrow that time down, we'll still get stuff done and we'll be able to get more things done in a shorter amount of time. What do you think of this? I mean, what do you think about this in general in terms of taking your time and focusing it down? Let me know in the comments below. And by that, I mean if you're on vo2gogo.com. If you're not on vo2gogo.com, please pop over there. We'd love to have you there. We have all kinds of great tips and tricks and strategies and tactics to help make your performance career fantastic, voiceover, on camera, whatever. Leave us a comment there. That's where the conversation is sane and moderated, and we love having the conversation occur there rather than on YouTube or anywhere else. And if you'd like to be a member, a subscriber of my YouTube channel, go ahead and click on my head there. If there's no head, look for a subscribe button somewhere on the page. If you want to see the latest episode of these videos, go ahead and click on that frame and YouTube will play it for you. I'm David H. Lawrence, the 17th. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.